I made my way back to school, and by the time I got there it was all over, but I made sure I finished all my classes for the day and I turned in all the homework I missed over the last few weeks, and then I saw Liz Allen and Adrian Toombs waiting for me, and then Adrian Toombs stuck out his fingers telling me to come over here, and I said in my mind the vulture is angry, and I walked up to Adrian Toombs and I said, "Hi sir, how are you feeling today?" And he said, "Well, I'm a little angry and disappointed, Peter. The first need you to come with me, I have something to ask you and to tell you." And I said, "Okay sir," and he said, "Please call me Mr. Allen." And I said, "Yes sir, but sir and ma'am are terms of respect, and I was taught manners and how to be a gentleman by my father, who is highly educated by the way." And Adrian said, "Fine, whatever kid, get in the car." And Adrian kept looking at me and he said, "So Peter Parker, I heard about you, that you can take care of my daughter." And I said, "You're her family, I could help you out too if you need it, Mr. Toombs." And he said, "Well, I will consider that very soon, I might even take you up on that, kid." And I said, "Okay," and I smirked when I thought about how much I actually get paid every day, and it's a very substantial amount of money, and I also know that I also have over $2 trillion in the bank right now. And I smirked when I thought about my spare bank accounts in town, how much money they have, and the fact that I have access to all my bank accounts now since I'm now 18 years old. And I joked about it and I said, "Well, we can go to a bank soon and I can prove it." And then Adrian smirked and he said, "I kind of like you, Peter. You seem like a good kid, so I'm going to warn you just this once, don't break my daughter's heart, and you better find a way to marry her if you can." And I said, "I won't break your daughter's heart, sir, but she never told me she has those types of feelings for me. She never said she loved me, but I did." And Adrian said, "Really, Liz, you never told this poor boy you love him?" And she said, "Well, I'm not sure that I do feel that way about him." And Adrian said, "Well, you had sex with him, but you don't love him." And then he looked at me and said, "He's a handsome guy and he's rich and I'm sure charming and intelligent, so what's not to like or even love, kid? You have a lot to learn, Liz, especially if he doesn't abuse you or anything." And then Adrian said, "We are here," and then he said, "It's time for us to have a talk." And then I went inside and I spoke to Liz Allen's parents and I assured them that everything would be alright, and I even drank some of Adrian's really good wine and I said, "Now that's delicious." And he grabbed my glass and he said, "You're underage, kid." And I said, "I am 18 now, sir." And he said, "You're not 21 yet." And I said, "I never tried Moët before, it's very expensive, and I was just curious about that wine, and I guess now I see what all the fuss is about you, and I need to talk in private, Mr. Adrian Toombs, and we need to discuss how you get your money to fund your business." And then he said, "Follow me, kid." And then we went to a soundproof room that Adrian Toombs designed, and I asked, "Have you told them yet?" And he said, "No." And I said, "Do you remember that mutant that warned everyone to never harm mutants again or else?" "Well, that was me. Oh, and I'm Spider-Man. Also, you need to stop your criminal business before it's too late, Mr. Toombs, and consider this a warning from a superhero to a villain, and I can take care of all your money problems for you if you allow me to." And I said, "I can give you $500 million from a local bank right now if that's what you want." And Adrian said, "Sure, kid." And I said, "The jig is up. You see, you stop doing crimes and become legitimate, Mr. Toombs, and I pay you off, and you stop being a criminal and be a good father and husband, or I tell you, or else I come back here and I'm not so nice next time. We clear, bud?" And he said, "Crystal clear." And then he asked me if I could do a wire transfer of the money, and I said, "Sure." And then I wired Adrian Toombs $500 million, and he said, "Well, that covers it." And I said, "Yes, it better. Oh, and I will marry your daughter. Even if she doesn't love me, she will be taken care of. No need to worry. Stay out of trouble, Mr. Toombs, and pay off your men and start a legitimate business, please." And he asked me if I wanted to stay for dinner because his wife is cooking dinner, and I said, "Yes, of course, and I trust you will get rid of any nuisance that might cause you trouble in the future." And he said, "Everything has been taken care of." And I said, "I see," and I laughed and said, "I am not Superman, Mr. Toombs, and besides, you're Lizzie's father, and I don't want to have to take you to prison and tell her who I really am right now. She's not ready, but she soon will be, I hope, so make sure no one finds out about your indiscretions. Furthermore, no more crimes, sir, and I am going to say, or else talk to you later." And then I walked out.